Propaganda had emerged as a powerful tool of psychological warfare. To Hitler, it was power.
He noted that British propaganda was fundamentally believable. It did not diminish the fighting power of the Germans, whereas German propaganda portrayed the British as bumbling incompetents. And Adolf Hitler picked up on this idea that the sophistication of propaganda had to have a small element of realism in. If it was completely devoid from reality, then it ceased to be effective.
Our country is in serious trouble. We don't have victories anymore. We used to have victories, but we don't have them. Politicians are all talk, no action. Nothing's going to get done. They will not bring us, believe me, to the promised land. We need a leader that wrote The Art of the Deal. We need somebody that literally will take this country and make it great again. We can do that. Because I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I don't need anybody's money. I'm really rich. I'll show you that in a second. And by the way, I'm not even saying that in a brag. That's the kind of mindset, that's the kind of thinking you need for this country.
Hitler believed in the power of speech to persuade an audience above all other methods. In his first year with the party, Hitler delivered speeches at over 30 meetings to crowds ranging from 800 to 2,500 people.
Trump is a producer at heart, and when he did these rallies, he made sure that the staging was perfect.
He hits the stage. They erupt. I've never seen this before. I felt this wave go through me. And that was the moment that I realized, holy, this is real.
It's not until the humiliation of 1918 that he arouses himself to think there's a way out of this, there's a way I can make Germany great again. And I have the means by which to put the idea over.
I alone can fix it. I am with you. I will fight for you. And I will win for you.
Austrian by birth, although he's picked up a Bavarian accent during his time in Germany. And this sets him aside from the other politicians of the 20s and 30s who are almost uniformly Prussians and speak with a very received form of German. He has a genuine voice, not merely from the army, but from the streets, from the provinces.
One of the things I find fascinating about Donald Trump is the way he uses language differently than other candidates for political office, especially President of the United States. Whereas his opponents and the political class in general seem hyper-aware that their words will be picked apart and used against them, Trump willfully disregards this fact. As a lifelong salesman, he has a huckster's knack for selling a feeling. So I thought it would be illuminating to look at a Trump answer to a simple question. In this case, Jimmy Kimmel asking Trump whether or not it's wrong to discriminate against people based on their religion, referring to Trump's proposal to temporarily ban all Muslims from entering the United States. This 220-word, exactly 1-minute answer displays, I think, a range of the things that Trump uses all the time in his speech. The first thing to note is how simple this language is. A study done by the Boston Globe that put all 2016 presidential candidates' announcement speeches through the Flesch-Kincaid readability test to determine their respective grade level rankings. Donald Trump's speech came out at a 4th grade reading level, and Bernie Sanders was way up in high school. It's about sentence construction, too. Trump favors simple sentences like,
we have a real problem. There's a tremendous hatred out there.
He also favors the second person a lot of the time, addressing listeners directly with commands.
Look at Paris. Look at what happened in Paris. Look at what happened in Paris. Look at what happened last week in California.
Or implicating us in what he's saying as if we've already agreed.
And you watch last night and you see people talking.
Maybe the most important technique Trump utilizes and is ending his sentences with strong, punchy words. A lot of times he'll rearrange the beginning of a sentence awkwardly so that he can end strong. For example, here, it would probably be more natural to say, you can't solve a problem until you find out what the root cause is. But he brings the is forward to end on root cause. These final words are crucial for Trump. They're pointed and taken together sketch the theme of the entire answer.
Harm, dead, died, badly injured, problem, root cause, thank you, bedlam, point, problem, service, problem.
In some sense, it's these words that audiences remember, especially when the rest of his speech is incoherent. The best salesman could sell you a TV without knowing anything about it, because the TV isn't what matters. What matters is you. And if you are an American citizen who, for years, has listened to politicians sound sophisticated while accomplishing nothing, you might just be primed for something that is everything they are not.
Hitler would begin his speeches quietly, gauging the mood of the audience, and then build slowly, working in stronger language and more dramatic gestures, raising his volume and pace until his excitement caught on with the crowd.
We're going to have such a strong military that nobody is going to mess with us.
What the crowds wanted?
Nobody.
Donald Trump.
We are led by very stupid people.
Unfiltered.
We are going to start winning big league.
Angry.
We can't beat ISIS. Give me a break.
This is what we really want to hear. We want to hear from the gut.
Build that wall. 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 Build that wall.
He found the short sentence, the rhetorical question, he realized worked very well with an audience that didn't want deep intellectual arguments. They wanted slogans.
Look at Hillary Clinton. And during that time,
I got another question for you. As to Hillary Clinton lying to the American people about her selfish, awful judgment in making our secrets vulnerable, what's your verdict? Guilty or not guilty?
So what are we going to do at the border, folks? Build a wall. Build a wall. Who's going to pay for that wall? Who's going to pay? They are. They're going to pay. And you're right about the swamp. Say it again. We're going to drain the swamp of Washington. We're going to have fun doing it. We're all doing it together.
In every speech, Hitler spoke to the German people's discontent.
What we have is a very modern thing, the politics of grievance. A lot of what the Nazis and he did comes across as a kind of protracted bratish whine. They were actually planting this idea of grievance and betrayal in the German people.
White grievance in the Republican Party. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. All the polls say the same thing. Donald Trump's rise is being fueled largely by white men who are both angry and furiously angry with both political parties.
For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Politicians prospered, the establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. We've defended other nations' borders while refusing to defend our own. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
The president had his first major political rally since the Mueller report came out. There was some colorful language. There was some schoolyard taunts of his political opponents. What else came out of it that struck you?
Yeah, well, I think this is a return to the politics of grievance for the president. You could have seen him say, basically, you know, the Russia stuff is behind us now. Let's move on and talk about some issues that matter to the American people. That's not exactly how he works, of course. He went after Adam Schiff in particular, the Democratic chairman of the House Intelligence Committee.
Hitler gave the people enemies, an external threat to the German ideal.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. It's coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably probably from the Middle East. But we don't know, because we have no protection and we have no competence. We don't know what's happening. And it's got to stop. That's right. A lot of people up there can't get jobs. They can't get jobs because there are no jobs. Because China has our jobs and Mexico has our jobs. They all have our jobs. Our enemies are getting stronger and stronger by the day. And we as a country are getting weaker.
If a propaganda message is aligned to popular perceptions, then it has already gained the attention of the people.
But the white man, he not only sees an economic threat, all right, he sees a social threat. And the social threat is that neighborhoods are changing, colors are changing. Press 1 if you want English, press 2 if you want Spanish. This infuriates people, rightly or wrongly. And they're all going to Trump because there's nobody close that reflects that kind of anger than he is.
And Hitler said that people will believe what you tell them if you tell them in a strong enough way. He introduces the idea of the big lie. If you tell a small one, they might not, they might dismiss it. Tell a big lie and people will believe it. And tell the lie in a big way. Announce it. Promulgate it.
I mean, when you have 15,000 people marching up and you have hundreds and hundreds of people and you have 2 or 3 border security people that are brave and great, it's an invasion. And it's also an invasion of drugs coming in from Mexico. Every single Democrat in the U.S. Senate has signed up for the open borders, and it's a bill. It's called the Open Borders Bill. What's going on? And it's written by, guess who? Dianne Feinstein.
Talked about Hammerschläger, hits of the hammer, repeating your message until you have no resistance left in your audience.
Seriously, are you taking the impeachment on?
Not at all, seriously. Take a look at that call. It was perfect. The conversation, by the way, was absolutely perfect. There was nothing done wrong. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect phone call. The call was perfect. It was perfect. It was perfect. Conversation was perfect. A perfect conversation. It was a very nice conversation. You have a perfect, I mean perfect conversation. That was a perfect conversation. That was a perfect conversation. It was perfect.
You have to develop an image of your enemy as dangerous, almost subhuman, and you exaggerate your message massively in order to bring people on side without them even realizing that they're being brought on side.
MS-13 is particularly violent. They don't like shooting people because it's too quick. It's too fast. I was reading one of these animals was caught and explaining they like to knife them and cut them and let them die slowly because that way it's more painful and they enjoy watching that much more. These are animals. A ruthless gang that has violated our borders and transformed once peaceful neighborhoods into blood-stained killing fields. MS-13 lives by the motto, kill, rape, and control. That's actually their motto. Kill, rape, and control. They killed a cop for the sake of making a statement. They wanted to make a statement. So they killed a cop. I called them animals the other day, and I was met with rebuke. They said, they're people. They're not people. These are animals. Now, has anyone ever heard the snake? Think of this in terms of terror. Think of this in terms of the people coming into the country. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. For things, she cried, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. The border. She stroked his pretty skin, and then she kissed him and held him tight. But instead of saying, thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
Is that a cage?
It's a detention space, ma'am.
Does it differ from the cages you put your dogs in?
Yes.
In what sense?
It's larger. It has facilities. It provides room to sit, to stand, to lay down.
So did my dog's cage.
Hitler understood that his role was to sell an idea, to convince the audience that he and the Nazi Party was their best and only choice.
And let me tell you, if for some reason I wouldn't have won the election, these markets would have crashed. And that'll happen even more so in 2020. See, the bottom line is, I know you like me, and this room is a love fest, I know that, but you have no choice but to vote for me because your 401ks, down the tubes, everything's gonna be down the tubes. So whether you love me or hate me, you gotta vote for me. I had a businessman the other day, one of the most successful guys in the country. I've never liked him, never liked him. He never liked me, I never liked him. I see him in the White House. I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I'm working to make sure you get elected." I said, "You gotta be kidding. You don't like me, I don't like you. What the hell is this all about?" He said, "That's right, we've had our differences. I haven't liked you. But to be honest with you, Mr. President, I have no choice." I said, "You're right. You're right." First thing I've ever heard him say that I agreed with. He's got no choice. He got no choice.